Hi, I'm McGeorge. I'm an author and publisher. I normally write horror novels and I have 8 critically acclaimed books to my name. But when I'm not writing my own books, I specialise in mentoring teenagers and I help young people turn humble ideas into published novels. Books that actually sell and generate good reviews. I'd like to show you some books from 3 of the teenagers I've worked with to give you some idea of what this means. Now, the first project I ever did was State of Sleep, and this was written by a girl called Neve Pierce. And the story follows a young man who uncovers a terrifying government conspiracy. And I met Neve when she was 14 years old. It took her about 10 months to write, and we were able to publish in paperback when she was 15. Ambition Falls is written by Amy Sharp, and she's the youngest person I've worked with. And Amy began writing the book when she was only 13. With Amy, we worked entirely online, so it was all done through Skype, through web chat, and Ambition Falls, this female detective story, is the best-selling and most downloaded of the teens that I've worked with. But the project that was perhaps the most impressive is Noir Control by Dustin Vanderpool. Now, his science fiction futuristic story follows a young girl who's been hunted in the aftermath of a military coup. But what is impressive about this project is before the book was even complete, Dustin was able to make enough money in pre-sales to cover all the printing and artwork costs, and he even turned a small profit. So what I provide is much more than a creative writing course. I'm there working with the students for a couple of hours a week to make sure that they're guided through the planning, through the writing. I'm there to motivate them, to support them, to keep the project on track, because the ultimate goal is to make sure there is a finished paperback at the end of the project. It has to be written to an exceptionally high standard. It needs to have a professionally designed cover, it needs to have its ISBN number, the barcode, it has to be registered with Nielsen, stored at the British Library. The books that are produced, every bit can go against any other commercially written book. So to write a book requires 3 disciplines. Firstly, you need to be creative. Secondly, you need strong project management skills. And finally, you need the heart of a champion, or the determination to see a long project through to the end. Now, most of the teenagers will have 1 or maybe 1.5 of these things. So for example, a student may be creative but lack the self-discipline to keep working on a long project. Alternatively, a student may have a lot of passion and enthusiasm, but not the ability to pull their ideas into a coherent shape. So working with a student, I split the project into 3 key stages. So we have planning, then we write the first draft, and then we revise the text. During the planning stage, the student learns from me how to generate ideas, they learn how to reveal characters, we talk a lot about how stories are constructed, and together we develop ideas into short little dramatic units. And then we decide upon these which is the most promising. We then grow those ideas into a fully prepared story treatment with a scene list of around 30 to 35 scenes. And this scene list becomes the step-by-step guide to writing the first draft. By planning it in this way, we ensure there is no such thing as writer's block, because when the student sits down to write, they have a scene list of 30 scenes, they just pick the next one off, they write that scene and then they put it down. For the first draft, I encourage the students to write as fast and hard as they can, and I tell them to never read anything back, don't edit the work. The plan is to get from the start to the end. And at the end of that process, they'll have a story. It will be messy and it will be badly written, but we can now see if that story works. We may find that some scenes are unnecessary or that other scenes are required, but the student hasn't wasted their time polishing scenes that may end up being removed. So we work really quick to get that book, to get that story done. And then for the second draft, what I call the assembly edit, we pull the story into a strong dramatic shape and we improve the drama of the piece. Then the final step is where we revise that assembly edit by cleaning up the writing and make the text flow beautifully. So this part is closest to a traditional creative writing course, albeit one where I'm on hand to help. Now, throughout the process, I work with the student for at least 1 hour a week as a live web chat or as a face-to-face meeting. and then we work for at least another hour on the writing using live cloud-based software. And at every step of the process, I'm on hand to offer feedback and motivational support. Now, something I'm fond of saying is that teaching somebody how to write a book is a skill, but keeping a teenager motivated is an art form. Writing a book can be a difficult slog. It's something a lot of adults try to do and fail to accomplish, which is why it's so impressive when a teenager succeeds. The key to making it work is motivation. It's keeping the student excited using positive reinforcement. In Neve's project, Neve had a school teacher who would criticize her for having blue hair, and this teacher had told her she would never amount to anything. Neve used to get angry and frustrated by this teacher, and we were able to use that. So anytime her motivation slipped, I would say, how will it feel when you turn up with your book and you put it down and you say, this is what I'm capable of? And that thought was enough to keep her going. And what actually happened when Neve took the book into school for the first time, that teacher said, right, stop. She got a journalist to come in, she brought in the photographer, she arranged a press release, and she actually got Neve into the newspaper. So it was, they actually became best friends. With Amy, her emotional motivator was wanting to do something that made her parents proud. So anytime her motivation slipped, I would ask her about, how will your parents feel when you're published? What would your book launch look like? So you're going to have a book launch, your parents are going to invite their friends. Who's coming? How will your parents feel? Will they be happy? And you could see as she started to talk about it, it really gave her some drive and energy. The most interesting is perhaps Dustin, because Dustin had suffered bullying at school and he had terrible low self-esteem. And I found that getting him to describe what it would be like to be a published author, how it would change people's perception of him, and that idea that he could somehow be quite special in the schoolyard kind of invigorated and drove him forward. Motivation is always done positively. It's the Tony Robbins approach of finding those powerful emotional motivators. So when a student thinks about quitting, we can always revisit those strong emotions. We can get them excited again and take them back to that place where they were first focused and really wanted to do this. Their project has to be fun. If the student gets bored with what they're doing, then it's up to me to find ways to re-energize them and to get them excited and to get them passionate about the project again. What I've discovered is students get a lot more out of this project than just a book. In Dustin's case, he came from an underprivileged background. There was a lack of money, and lack of money determined what could and couldn't happen in life. When he made enough money in the pre-sales to cover his cost, it kind of broke a psychological barrier and it gave him a real passion for business. And since I worked with him, he began working on a business plan to start a PA hire company that will become a springboard to owning a live music venue. I mean, this was a kid who was 15 years old. Nothing could work because we don't have money. Now he's making these incredible business plans and he's likely to be successful. So being a published author has had a profound impact on him, and it's given a real focus to his future. Now, likewise with Neve, she was struggling with her GCSEs. She wasn't expected to do as well with her final exams as her fellow classmates. What she found is the moment she went to a college interview and showed them a book, nobody cared about her exam results. Doors were opened everywhere she turned. I think that's the real value to the students. The areas we look to develop in creativity, in project management, and in determination to succeed. These are attributes that are transferable to any industry. Employers look for people who are creative thinkers. They look for people who can make actionable plans, people who can see plans through to completion. And nothing shows those attributes in a young person as well as placing a book in front of a prospective employer. I mean, it's a powerful statement that shows what that person's capable of. Being a published author and the skills developed through the mentoring have given students a real advantage in life, particularly in securing college and university places. So if you think that mentoring is right for your child, feel free to give me a call or drop me an email. The ideal age is from 13 to 16, and the students need no prior writing ability, they need no skills, they don't even need any ideas, because developing those things is all part of the fun. Prices and project times do vary between students, but as a general guide, the prices I charge are in line with quality music lessons, and the projects tend to take between 6 to 10 months. So easily within a year, your son or daughter could become a published author.